Schoolhouse rocking, the chip off the block of your favorite schoolhouse.
Remember when a cartoon about grammar was the coolest show on Saturday morning TV? When you knew all the words to Conjunction Junction, but you forgot to study for your test. From 1973 to 1985, Schoolhouse Rock showed 64 episodes on ABC. Short 3-minute lessons hidden inside fun jazz music and cartoons. It wasn't boring school stuff. It was fun, smart, and somehow made grammar, math, and the preamble stay in our brains forever. Today, we are counting down 15 strange and awesome facts about Schoolhouse Rock. But before we start, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and support the video. It helps YouTube share it with more fans of classic Saturday morning cartoons.
So, let's get into the countdown with number 1. It all started because a kid couldn't do math. In the early 70s, advertising executive David McCall noticed something funny about his son. The kid could sing every Rolling Stones song by heart, but couldn't remember how to multiply 7 times 8 no matter what. So, McCall had a light bulb moment. What if learning felt more like listening to a song on the radio than going to detention? He brought in jazz musician Bob Dorough, a recording artist known for his funny lyrics and playful rhythms. Dorough had once made a novelty album inspired by the labels on canned food, so it was clear he could make anything sound cool. Dorough turned math into music with a little song called 3 is a Magic Number.
3 is a magic number. Yes, it is.
It was so catchy that even adults couldn't get it out of their heads. When illustrator Tom Yohe at McCall's ad agency heard it, he drew pictures to go with the song. Suddenly, the idea wasn't just about teaching, it was also fun to watch.
It takes 3 legs to make a tripod or to make a table stand.
McCall and producer George Newell pitched the idea to ABC, and luck stepped in. Michael Eisner, a young executive under pressure to add educational shows, liked it but wasn't completely sure. Then animation legend Chuck Jones, who just happened to be in the meeting, watched the pilot, turned to Eisner, and gave the simplest, most direct review in TV history: buy it. According to Newell, it became the fastest deal in television history. Eisner immediately ordered the series and told the network to make a spot for it between cartoons.
It takes 3 wheels to make a vehicle called a tricycle.
On January 6, 1973, Multiplication Rock premiered, and kids everywhere discovered that learning could actually be fun. Its success led to Grammar Rock, America Rock, and a pop culture phenomenon. Decades later, Eisner said people talked about Schoolhouse Rock to him more than Raiders of the Lost Ark or The Lion King. All because one kid liked Mick Jagger more than math, and the kid who created Bugs Bunny said yes.
The family, that's a magic number.
Number 2. The name was inspired by Elvis. Before Schoolhouse Rock became famous, it was almost called Scholastic Rock, which sounds less like a Saturday morning cartoon and more like a pop quiz you forgot to study for. The problem was that Scholastic Inc. already owned the name, so the creators needed a new one fast. That's when someone remembered Elvis Presley's 1957 hit, Jailhouse Rock. The idea was perfect. Swap jailhouse for schoolhouse, keep the rebellious feel, and suddenly you have a name that tells kids exactly what they're getting. Classroom lessons that don't feel like punishment. When Multiplication Rock premiered in 1973, the new name stuck. It was catchy, it made sense, and it didn't make kids think they were about to watch a film strip about the Dewey Decimal System. Let's be real, Scholastic Rock would have failed before the first commercial break.
Number 3, the songs had to be 3 minutes. If Schoolhouse Rock always felt as tight as a pop song, that's because it literally was. Every segment had to be exactly 3 minutes long. This wasn't an artistic choice or a nod to 3 as a magic number, it was a network rule. ABC needed 3-minute spots to fill the tiny gaps between Saturday morning cartoons, the same spaces used for commercials or station promos. The creators understood this perfectly. They were ad people after all. They were used to saying a lot in a short time, so they wrote their lessons like commercial jingles for learning, catchy, rhythmic, and built to grab attention fast. That meant some sacrifices. Dora's original version of 3 as a magic number ran longer and included the line, "A man and a woman had a little baby."
A man and a woman had a little baby. Yes, they did. They had 3.
It got cut for time.
Other songs like My Hero Zero and The Four-Legged Zoo had to lose verses or intros that later showed up again on the album versions.
My hero zero, such a funny little he.
Still, those time limits ended up being a creative gift. Every song had to grab listeners right away, teach something they would remember, and finish before the next cartoon. The result was a masterclass in using music wisely that turned what could have been filler into timeless pop culture gold.
Number 4. Every song had to get a real school's approval first. Before Schoolhouse Rock could teach millions of kids, it had to pass a tough test. Real teachers at Bank Street College of Education in New York City. From the start, the creators wanted the songs to be credible. They didn't just want catchy tunes, they wanted proof that the songs actually worked. So when Bob Dorough finished 3 is a Magic Number, the team played it for real classrooms of kids. The results were clear. Students remembered both the song and the math. That success convinced ABC that the series could be both fun and educational.
3,
3, 6, 9,
12,
12, 15, 18,
21.
21, 24, 27, 30.
From then on, Bank Street checked every script and lyric before it aired, making sure the facts were correct, even when the rhymes were fun. Their help was especially important during America Rock, when topics like the Constitution and westward expansion needed extra care. That partnership gave Schoolhouse Rock its rare mix of fun and accuracy, and that's why so many of us still remember the lyrics better than the textbooks.
Number 5. A Connecticut barn saved Saturday mornings. When Schoolhouse Rock ended its original run in 1985, nobody thought to save the magic. Literally, the animation cells, sheet music, and even the original 24-track master tapes disappeared into the storage of mid-80s networks.
Oh, but it looks like I'm gonna live. Now I go to the House of Representatives and they vote on me.
If they vote yes, what happens?
Then I go to the Senate and the whole thing starts all over again.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
For years, fans thought the original recordings were gone forever. As fan nostalgia grew in the early 90s, ABC quietly started thinking about a revival. And that search led to a surprising discovery. The master audio reels were found in a barn in Connecticut. No one is completely sure who found them or how they got there, but there they were. Dusty boxes full of the songs that taught a whole generation to count, vote, and punctuate. The rediscovered tapes made high-quality re-releases possible and helped the show return to TV in 1993. The key to bringing back Schoolhouse Rock wasn't a new idea or a big budget. It was a barn in Connecticut and some very lucky timing.
Number 6. Bob Dorough was a real jazz legend. Schoolhouse Rock made multiplication sound smoother than the Miles Davis riff, and you can thank Bob Dorough for that. Before teaching kids that 3 is a magic number, Dorough was already a respected jazz musician. In the 1950s, he played in Paris clubs with the greats and recorded his 1956 debut album, Devil May Care, full of sharp wit and clever chord changes.
I'm happy as I can be. I've learned to love and to live. Devil may care.
That playful spirit got the attention of ad man David McCall years later. And then came Miles Davis. The famously picky trumpet player recorded 2 songs with Dorough in 1962, Blue Xmas, To Whom It May Concern, and Nothing Like You.
I hope you have a white one, but for me, it's blue.
Davis once called Dorough a didactic tyrant, which coming from Miles was basically a compliment. When McCall needed someone to make math fun, Durough's mix of bebop brains and playful lyrics made him the perfect choice.
Lolly, 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 get your adverbs here. Lolly, 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 got some adverbs here.
His fingerprints were all over the series, from surprising key changes to funky rhythms that made grammar sound like jazz, even after Schoolhouse Rock made him loved by millions of kids. Dorough never left the music scene. He performed into his 90s, signed with Blue Note in his 70s, and often included Conjunction Junction in live shows, delighting audiences who knew every word.
Junction, junction, what's your function? Hook it up, words and phrases.
He earned a Grammy nomination in 1974 and, decades later, a National Endowment for the Arts Jazz Masters Award in 2019. The man who taught a generation their times tables also taught them that jazz can make anything swing,
even a grammar lesson. Bob Dorough passed away on April 23, 2018, at the age of 94.
Number 7, the Jazz Cats used their own kids as backup singers. It turns out Schoolhouse Rock didn't just teach kids, some of them actually helped make the music. In the early days of production, composer Bob Dorough and his fellow jazz musicians kept things close to home. Literally, when it was time to record the backing vocals, they brought in their own children to sing the choruses. Durough's daughter, Dorough, was one of them, along with the sons and daughters of other studio players. The result wasn't a polished studio choir, it was better. The kids' raw, untrained voices gave the songs a real classroom energy that perfectly matched the spirit of the show. You can hear it clearly on The Four-Legged Zoo, where Durough's cool adult vocals bounce off the kids' excited responses. It sounds like learning in real time. It's messy, joyful, and alive.
We went to the Four-Legged Zoo to visit our four-footed friends.
It wasn't a slick corporate production with endless budgets. It was a scrappy, family-driven experiment made by musicians and ad creatives who just wanted to make something that worked. Having their own children sing on the tracks made the whole thing feel homemade. And that realness became part of Schoolhouse Rock's charm.
Lions and tigers, cats and dogs, a goat and a cow and a...
The approach matched the show's mission. Education brought straight into the living room by parents who believed kids could learn and have fun at the same time.
And I can't remember how many more, but
We multiplied them all by 4.
While Bob Dorough was teaching America to count and rhyme, his daughter and her friends were literally in the background, helping a generation find its voice. Number 8, the magic number went hip-hop. If you grew up with Schoolhouse Rock and came of age with MTV, this one might blow your mind a little, because your Saturday morning math lesson became a hip-hop classic. In 1989, the group De La Soul released their debut album, 3 Feet High and Rising, and sampled Bob Dorrough's 1973 song, 3 is a Magic Number. They didn't just borrow a melody, they made it the heart of their hit single, The Magic Number.
That's a magic number. Yes, it is.
That familiar line, once used to help Gen X kids with multiplication tables, became the hook for one of the most creative tracks in alternative hip-hop. De La Soul changed the meaning. 3 wasn't about math anymore. It was about them. They were a trio spreading peace, positivity, and what they called the Daisy Age.
In this hip-hop soul community was born 3, they stubbing me, and that's a magic number.
The track mixed in everything from Double D and Stinsky's Lesson 3 to a Led Zeppelin drum break, creating a sound collage that was playful, smart, and just strange enough to make parents nervous. Unlike other samples from the album, this one never caused legal problems. But other clearance issues kept 3 Feet High and Rising stuck in legal limbo for decades, unavailable on streaming until 2023. That meant when Spider-Man No Way Home came out in 2021 and played the magic number over the end credits, half the audience thought, cool song, while every Gen Xer whispered, wait, that's Schoolhouse Rock. The filmmakers even confirmed it wasn't a coincidence. They used the song to celebrate the 3 Spider-Man, and Schoolhouse Rock's doodle-style animation was copied in the credits. From Saturday morning cartoons to hip-hop to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, 3 is a magic number proved Bob Dorough was right all along. 3 really was magic, and it still is. All right, we're going to take a quick pause here to make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And while you're at it, tell us your favorite Schoolhouse Rock song in the comments. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe so we can keep going through the weirdest facts of the past.
Now, let's get back to the countdown with number 9. Interplanet Janet was the space-age superhero of Saturday mornings.
Our solar system is centered round the sun.
Before Neil deGrasse Tyson explained black holes on social media, we had a different space guide. A cartoon woman in a silver jumpsuit flying through the solar system with jazz hands and a jetpack.
Interplanet Janet, she's a galaxy girl. The solar system is from a future world.
Interplanet Janet first aired on November 18, 1978 as part of Science Rock, the short-lived but loved spin-off that swapped grammar and government for gravity and gas giants.
Travels like a rocket with her comet team, and there's never been a planet Janet hasn't seen.
Lynn Ahrens wrote and performed it. Yes, the same future Tony winner who gave us the preamble, introducing a galaxy girl from a future world who zoomed across space, teaching kids the order of the planets. And somehow, she made it sound funky, baby.
Been to the sun, it's a lot of fun. It's a hot spot, it's a gas.
Each verse gave a quick tour of the solar system, Saturn's rings, Venus's clouds, and Pluto's lonely spot, back when we still showed some respect for Pluto's name.
Pluto, little Pluto, is the farthest planet from our sun.
At the time, the song was scientifically correct, even though most of the outer planets had hardly been photographed. Aarons and the animators were using imagination more than facts, which gave science rock its wonderfully hopeful charm.
Solar system is not alone in space.
For a generation of kids, Interplanet Janet was their first astronomy lesson. Teachers played it on wheeled TVs, and every kid in class hummed the tune while labeling diagrams. It was simple, fast, and surprisingly memorable, like learning orbital mechanics through disco. Then 2006 happened. Pluto was downgraded to a dwarf planet, which meant Janet's catchy 9 planets lyric suddenly became outdated. Later DVD releases quietly changed it to 8 planets, while some teachers just paused mid-song to explain what happened to poor Pluto. Janet did make a comeback in 2009 with Solar Power to the People, proving she still had enough star power to lead another mission.
There she goes. Interplanet Janet took a trip to the shore.
Decades later, Interplanet Janet is still a time capsule of 1970s optimism, back when space was the future and the universe still had 9 planets to sing about.
There's never been a planet Janet hasn't seen.
Number 10. I'm Just a Bill became a civic superstar.
I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill.
If you grew up in the 70s or 80s, chances are your whole understanding of American democracy came from one very tired piece of paper sitting on the Capitol steps. I'm Just a Bill wasn't just a cartoon. It was Civics 101 set to a swing beat.
Well, it's a long, long journey to the capital city.
Jazz pianist Dave Frischberg wrote it, and it debuted on March 27, 1976 as part of America Rock. The story was simple. A humble bill explains its long bureaucratic journey to becoming a law. Committee hearings, congressional votes, presidential signatures. Somehow, Frischberg made all of it catchy.
Long wait while I'm sitting in committee.
The voice of that rolled-up piece of paper was jazz trumpeter Jack Sheldon, whose gravelly drawl gave the bill its cautious, worldwide charm. The kid asking all the questions? That was Sheldon's real-life son, John. Father-son voice acting. How cool is that?
But I know I'll be a law someday. At least I hope and pray that I will.
Frischberg's melody was pure jazz meets jingle. It was bouncy, bittersweet, and incredibly catchy.
Today I am still just a bill.
Millions of kids learned how laws were made before they even knew their state capitals. Up to that point, Congress had never been so easy to sing about. Of course, the lesson was a little optimistic. There were no filibusters, no lobbying, no gridlock, just a friendly paper scroll patiently waiting to be signed. Outlets like Politico and Vox tried to update it for modern times, but nothing stuck like the original.
Gee, Bill, you certainly have a lot of patience and courage.
Well, I got this far.
The song became so famous that The Simpsons even parodied it, with Jack Sheldon voicing an amendment to be.
I'm not garbage. I'm an amendment to be. Yes, an amendment to be.
Saturday Night Live did a hilarious sketch about how a bill does not become a law.
But then I need from the Senate a majority. And if I pass the legislative test, then I wind up on the president's desk. And I say,
Family Guy and Robot Chicken made fun of it too. And in 2018, the Library of Congress added the song to the National Recording Registry, basically saying it's important enough to save forever. Not bad for a cartoon about paperwork.
Bill, now you're a law.
Oh, yes.
Number 11. The Preamble taught the Constitution better than school did.
In 1787, I'm told our founding fathers did agree.
If you can still sing the beginning of the U.S. Constitution, but can't remember your Wi-Fi password, you have Schoolhouse Rock to thank for that.
The USA was just starting out, a whole brand new country.
The Preamble first aired on November 1st, 1975, as part of America Rock, the show's bicentennial gift to America.
We the people, in order to form a more perfect union.
While most kids were watching Scooby-Doo solve mysteries, Schoolhouse Rock was teaching them how a nation was built.
Establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility.
Lynn Ahrens wrote and performed it, and she absolutely nailed it. This song was one of her first professional jobs, long before she would win Tony Awards for Ragtime and Once on This Island, and become a legend in musical theater.
Provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare at hand.
The song set the preamble to music, turning We the People into a gentle, folk-inspired sing-along. To fit the rhythm, Ahrens dropped just 4 words of the United States, but otherwise, it was surprisingly accurate. The animation showed America's story from 1787 Philadelphia to the modern day, showing the Founding Fathers drafting the Constitution while kids watched it all happen.
To ordain and establish this Constitution.
It worked better than anyone thought. Teachers started using it in civics classes. Students who couldn't sit still through a history lesson suddenly knew the preamble by heart. One teacher in the 80s joked that half her class hummed the melody during tests.
For the United States of America.
The New York Times praised America Rock in 1976 for turning the Constitution into a joyful musical experience. High praise for a Saturday morning cartoon. Decades later, the Preamble is still one of the most loved songs in the series. For millions of Gen Xers, this wasn't just a cartoon. It was how we learned what we the people really meant.
For the United States of America.
Number 12. Nostalgic college students brought it back. When Schoolhouse Rock ended in 1985, it seemed like the end. But the kids who grew up singing along to Conjunction Junction had other ideas. By the early 90s, those kids were in college, and they still knew every word. Long before social media, Gen X fans started a grassroots petition campaign to bring the show back. Phone calls, letters, word of mouth, pure nostalgic power. ABC noticed, and in 1993, the classics returned to Saturday mornings, and the response was instant. Old fans came back, new kids tuned in, and the network even made fresh episodes. Bob Dorough and Jack Sheldon reunited for new grammar rock songs like Busy Prepositions, while Lynn Ahrens wrote and sang the story of Mr. Morton.
These little words we call the busy peas.
Preposition.
9 or 10 of them.
Then came Money Rock in 1994, which turned taxes, credit, and national debt into musical lessons like Taxman Max and Tyrannosaurus Debt. Somehow, they made economics fun and funky.
There's something huge, red, white, and blue that's grazing in D.C. It's gobbling up the taxes that are paid by you and me.
The nostalgia wave spread into other media. In 1995, a stage musical, Schoolhouse Rock Live, opened on Broadway, and the 1996 tribute album, Schoolhouse Rock Rocks, featured Blind Melon, Better Than Ezra, and Biz Markie.
Energy. Sometimes I think I'm running out of energy.
In other words, the show that taught kids the preamble to the Constitution also taught a generation how to bring back a full-blown revival.
Number 13. It got the biggest crowd in Kennedy Center history. Sort of. In January 2013, Bob Dorough walked onto the Kennedy Center's Millennium Stage to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Schoolhouse Rock. The room usually holds a few hundred people. Nearly 1,000 showed up. Fans filled the aisles, lined the stairways, and sang every word of Conjunction Junction.
Junction, junction, what's your function? Hooking up words.
Gen Xers brought their kids. Jazz fans brought nostalgia. And for one night, the show's music became a multi-generational sing-along.
The crowd set an attendance record for that venue, not the main concert hall, but the Millennium Stage Series. Still, it was historic. A 1970s educational cartoon pulled a bigger audience than most modern jazz shows. It wasn't just a concert, it was a reunion, proof that the show didn't just teach a generation, it became part of their DNA. 4 decades later, the songs still know how to bring people together.
Number 14, Conjunction Junction, the one everyone remembers.
Conjunction Junction, what's your function?
You're already singing it, aren't you? If there's one Schoolhouse Rock song that could make a whole generation start humming together, it's Conjunction Junction.
Looking up words and phrases and clauses.
Written by Bob Dorough and performed by jazz trumpeter Jack Sheldon, the segment first aired on November 17, 1973 as part of the Grammar Rock series. Its simple idea, teaching how conjunctions link words, phrases, and clauses, turned it into one of the most iconic and completely catchy lessons in TV history.
I got 3 favorite cars that get most of my job.
The song's magic comes from its railroad metaphor, a cheerful train yard where boxcars labeled and, but, or hook up sentences just like rail cars on a track. It's a perfect visual, practical, memorable, and surprisingly funky.
Got and, but, and or, they'll get you pretty far.
Sheldon's gravelly, soulful voice makes the whole thing work. He wasn't a studio rookie. He was a jazz veteran and sidekick on The Merv Griffin Show, and his relaxed phrasing made grammar feel cool. Backing him were real jazz musicians, which is why the song grooves like something you'd hear in a smoky club rather than a simple spelling beat.
And that's an additive, like this and that.
The lyrics themselves are a perfect example of how to teach.
Conjunction Junction, what's your function?
That chorus didn't just explain the grammar, it stuck in every kid's memory.
Hooking up 2 boxcars and making them run right.
The song moved out of the classroom and into pop culture, appearing in Reality Bites in 1994, Glee, and even the U.S. Department of Education's Hold Music in 2010.
Conjunction Junction, what's your function?
Ask anyone born between 1965 and 1985 what a conjunction does, and chances are they'll sing the answer. Decades later, Conjunction Junction still runs on time. Proof that sometimes the best education starts with a catchy tune, a groove, and one really cool conductor.
Conjunction Junction, watch that function.
Number 15. The creators made almost no money. For all the joy, learning, and lifelong nostalgia Schoolhouse Rock gave us, the people who actually made it, the musicians, writers, and animators, saw very little of the money it earned. That's because Schoolhouse Rock was created inside an advertising agency, McCaffrey and McCall, which handled ABC's network account. The show wasn't an independent passion project, it was work for hire. That meant everything, the songs, characters, and animation, legally belonged to the agency and eventually to the network.
Called interest. You're making money that way, and you can buy that gear about a year from today.
Jazz musician Bob Dorough, the creative heart of the series, was reportedly paid per song, just like he would be for any other commercial job. Even as the series became a cultural phenomenon, Dorough still had to perform in clubs and teach music to make a living. Fellow songwriter Lynn Ahrens also received only a small fee for her work. When ABC took full control of the series, the creators' ownership disappeared completely. Then in 1996, when Disney bought ABC, the entire Schoolhouse Rock library became Disney property, including every song, animation, and character. From that point on, all profits from home video sales, merchandise, and reruns went to the corporate parent, not the people who actually made it. Bob Dorough was philosophical about it. He kept performing Schoolhouse Rock songs at jazz gigs well into his 80s, smiling as fans sang along to 3 is a Magic Number or Conjunction Junction. The fame was real, but the fortune wasn't.
Phrases and clauses. Conjunction Junction.
In the end, they didn't make millions, but they taught billions. That's the kind of legacy you can't buy. And there you have it. 15 weird and wonderful facts about Schoolhouse Rock. Which fact surprised you the most? And which song still plays over and over in your head?
Share in the comments and be sure to like, subscribe, and hype this video if you enjoyed it.